first talk.
Yep.
First day of availability. Any surprises?
Oh, I don't think there's. I mean, there's been no surprises. It's about a matter of staying healthy. To be honest with you, it's like we've had a string of injuries here in the last couple of weeks. So, but no, I think guys are separating themselves a little bit in terms of some positions and winning some jobs. But it's competitive. That's the fun part. It's competitive in our inter squad games, and it's trying to get everybody to post next Friday. It's like some of these injuries that are popping up aren't very fun, but that's we've talked about having some depth, so we're looking forward to seeing that.
As we kind of get into game week preparations
Yep.
in the next couple of days, just talk about what you know about San Diego and how you're approaching that first weekend.
Well, they're going to be well coached. Brock does a good job over there, and obviously playing on the road the first weekend, you got a lot of new players, so trying to get our young guys acclimated because we're going to have a lot of young guys play. So being on their first road trip and getting an idea what it's like. They're going to be. They play a lot of West Coast baseball. They'll utilize the bunt when they need to, but they can really hit. They have a two-way guy that'll start on Friday, and it's going to be a great test right out of the chute. I think. You look at DBU, who's everybody's familiar with around this area, and we have, I feel like, two programs that we're going to play this year that are very similar in terms of that. Outside of the Power 4 conferences, are probably at the top. You throw in Santa Barbara, but you have Southern Miss, DBU, and UC and San Diego. Those are I would consider probably four of the top outside the Power 4 program. So it'll be fun. Four games against a great program.
So when you put together these scrimmages on these, Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
yeah.
What's the process of doing that? And what do you look at?
Well, you're trying to get them in rhythm of what a normal week's going to look like. Off on Monday, which off from a baseball perspective, but they have a lot of stuff on their plate on the off day from baseball to get a lot of their academics done. So it's not a true off day in the sense of for them. But Tuesday we'll scrimmage, Wednesday, Thursday we'll have a little bit more practice in terms of some of the fundamentals and the things that we have to work on. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's basically our guys will show up early and hit, but then it's stretch, catch play, a little bit of base running, and right into the game. So you're just, last week we did Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to get a feel for playing a 4-game stretch in a row. And then this week we're just doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We won't midweek next week, and we'll get everybody ready for Friday night in San Diego.
You guys are just about a week away from heading down to San Diego for opening day. Have you made any decisions yet on what that starting rotation might look like next week?
No, not really. I mean, obviously, Ben wasn't able to make his start last week, so Ben's coming back. He'll throw on Saturday this week. But there's still a lot of competition involved there. We have it in our mind. I think what we think it's going to look like in terms of the first four games, who's going to start. And I'm excited about the 4 guys that will take the mound first.
Do you like the fact that the opening weekend is a 4-game series? It kind of gives you an opportunity to get more guys in there and see younger guys?
I do, and especially having the ability to play 4 in a row and then come home and get 2 great days of practice to prepare for going into Globe Life, I think is awesome too. But 4 right in a row is you're really going to find out real quick in terms of your pitching depth, and you're going to find out real quick with those freshman arms. We'll see a lot of them and give them a lot of opportunities, and it'll be fun to kind of piece together 4 ball games in a row right out of the chute with limited pitch counts.
So, you guys talk a lot about culture and everything like that, the off-the-field stuff and the team football building. You're going on the road for 4 games in San Diego.
Not a bad place to go.
No, not really. But how do you mix that in a little bit other than just baseball? Is it all
Sure.
baseball?
No. We'll do some stuff together as a group, and obviously spend a lot of time in terms of meals together, whether it be Thursday or through the weekend. But then we'll have different things that we'll go do in San Diego in terms of seeing the town a little bit and being able to take advantage of being in a beautiful part of the country. So being in a hotel one extra night, I think lends itself. I think it's going to be a lot of video games played, a lot of cards played, a lot of hanging out, because that's really all you have. This is a pretty tight-knit group, and I expect a lot of these guys will probably end up going out and getting a lot of meals together, but we'll have a lot of organized stuff for sure to to be with one another.
Piggyback off the culture question there, you've got a lot of former frogs, a lot of pro frogs here today, just kind of working out, hanging around. What does that say about the culture of the program that those guys are comfortable coming back and doing that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. I think it says a lot to Zach Dakant. You know, these guys work out at 10 in the morning over there with Coach Dakant, and then come right over here afterward to hit and take ground balls and you know, you didn't see it today, but a lot of the guys that are throwing bullpens, you know, they're out here in the mornings after lift as well. So I think it says a lot to the people that we have in place and the people that you know, help these guys even when they're not here. You know, like I said, we have I think 15 or so guys that come back and work out pretty much every day with Zach over in the weight room, and then are over here. And the more that our guys can be around them, and a lot of these guys have been, you know, we've had quite a few guys past frogs come back and talk to the team, and on Tuesdays and Fridays, you know, all the way back from, you know, the late 70s to, you know, guys that have just left. So what we're trying to be able to do is have guys understand, you know, where this place was and who built this place. You know, because it is so transient now with the transfer portal. A lot of times you don't get to understand the history and the, you know, what's come before you. And that's one of the things that is huge for us, like you said, with these guys coming back. But having our guys understand, you know, what this place is and whose back it was built on. And so we've spent a lot of time educating them on that.
You talked a little bit about how fans can expect to see probably a lot of depth, especially in that first weekend. I don't think anyone really expects Carson Bowen to catch 4 straight games this weekend. Has anyone specifically emerged as? Yeah,
Nolan Traeger, freshman. Obviously everyone knows the last name. Jack's his older brother, and then Nolan is a freshman catcher from down in Houston, and he's done a phenomenal job in terms of leadership qualities, and then also, you know, athletic ability in terms of his catch and receive skills, and then also, you know, his hitting. But the big thing for me is he's been in a lot of high-level competition, playing for USA Baseball national team out of the country in big environments. So I'm excited for him. He's, you know, he's gonna, you know, you look back on all the great teams at TCU. They've always had a great catcher, and we feel like we got, you know, not only 2, we got 3. I mean, Isaac Cadena has really caught well, and you know, Jacob Silva, another brother, he has really opened a lot of eyes here in the last probably 3 weeks in terms of what he's done offensively, you know, and he's just taken great at bat after great at bat. So, like I said, it's fun to watch guys try and push their way into the lineup, you know, and that's the fun part or the hard part of figuring out which lineup. But I think the versatility is the big thing that we'll be able to do, and be able to move guys around and figure out, you know, who's hot and what matchup we like, and go from there.
I don't know if you saw earlier today, Arizona State.
Oh, I saw it.
Yeah, that they were going to go 34
and rev share. Yeah.
Talk about, you know, what that does to have that kind of backing for their program, and then, you know, what's kind of the expectation?
Sure. So the interesting thing, so you look at Arizona State, and, you know, they're going to go to 34 full rides and revenue share. And so the first thing that you go do is look, okay, well, what does that come down to in a dollars and cents standpoint? And for the most part, you know, Arizona State's about $22,000, you know, I think for tuition in-state. It might be, I think it might be $14,000 in-state. And then it's, you know, room and board. You're looking probably $25,000, right? Maybe a little bit more than that. So, and that's for in-state. I'm not sure if they do this, but I'm guessing they probably do, is they probably try to get their out-of-state guys, which is way more expensive to be online, to be able to get around the out-of-state expense. So let's just say they add 22 scholarships at $25,000, right? Let's do the math on that. Let's see, what is that? About $550,000. So is that good math? Bad math? Does that sound good? $550,000. For us to add 22 scholarships at $83,000 is not $550,000. So that money's got to come from somewhere. So I think the highest, you know, what teams are trying to get to is how much money are they going to invest with revenue sharing and scholarships. And I think the higher end kind of programs around the country that are, you know, in the SEC or Arizona State, what they're doing, I think the higher end is probably, you know, that money comes out to maybe $1.5 million, something like that. And so with us being at $83,000, us trying to get there, our money goes it gets spent a lot faster. and so we can't accumulate those scholarships quite as fast, which, I mean, part of the business of the reason we have a great university is, I mean, it is expensive. And so we're going to get there. I'm not sure when we're going to get there, how we're going to get there, but we're going to get there. My main thing is we got to stay competitive in our conference. You know, I'm not worried about other conferences. I'm worried about making sure that we handle our business in our conference. And what we have to do that is to be, you know, fully invested in baseball, which we are. We have great expectations and great investment in our program. And you're starting to see a little bit in terms of where programs are starting to come out and say exactly what their plan is. And so it's all speculation until you have ASU saying, hey, we're going to go to 34 full rides, plus we're going to add revenue share to it. So my guess is they'll probably have 34 full rides and another 500 to 750,000 of rev share. So you're looking at, you know, probably 1.25, 1.5, something like that. So, you know, it's the ever-changing landscape of college baseball for sure, with us, you know, trying to get to 34 full rides. So it's not as easy as people think. In terms of, well, we'll just get someone to donate. Well, it actually comes from the overall revenue share pot. And so there's a lot of factors that go into it, and hopefully we'll be fully funded and at the top of our conference.
I know he's still new on the job, but have you had an opportunity to kind of sit down with Mike Buddy and have some of those conversations?
Well, he's only been in town. Let's see, he took the job. He was in town for that, and then he went back to New York, and he's had to, he's moving the family, and so he really hasn't been in town hardly at all. But we had a great conversation. He came and checked out all the facilities around campus, and he was at the basketball game last night, and I think he's going to be more present now that everything's kind of moved out here. I think he bought a home, and so I think he's getting his feet on the ground here, and I think once that happens, we'll start to get a little bit more insight in terms of what his plans are on the revenue share, because obviously those things change, and would love to have an idea of where we're going to move into the future.
Talking about your coaching staff really quick, you mentioned last week that you're going to be taking over the majority of the responsibilities. What kind of goes into that decision, and does that change Dave Vaughn's responsibilities at all?
Well, it changes it just in the fact that he's not calling the pitches like he did last year. For me, it was kind of after the season was over, I just reflected and was like, I got to be the head coach because I was a pitching coach, and so part of that was the first year I did it. The first 2 years I did it. The last year I didn't. And then this year I'm going to go back to it. And really, I got bored, to be honest. During the game, it was kind of like, that's the reason why I got to become a head coach. And I look forward to that cat and mouse part of the game in terms of calling pitches. But Dave does a great job in terms of developing, when I'm not able to be there, and even when I am. He does an amazing job with our guys day in and day out in terms of developing pitches and mentality, and him and I cut from the same cloth, and he might say something a little bit different that rings true to somebody. I think that's the great thing is with two guys with a pitching background, the ability to cast the net over our 21 or 22 pitchers is needed. I mean, you think about, having 21 or 22 pitchers for one coach, somebody gets left out. And I think when you have, two sets of eyes and you're able to have a little bit more individual one-on-one time with a lot more guys, and he's been phenomenal for our program, and he's just done a great job.
A few other questions about Dave Vaughn and mostly LOL offseason. Talk about the addition of Jake Silverman. Talk about John DeLora for a second.
Yep.
What he means to this program. Obviously, recruiting coordinator, coaches defense in the outfield, and just does a lot.
Well, he's a superstar in terms of all of it, but just an awesome human being that, there's not a harder worker, more prepared guy in the country in terms of what he does from a recruiting standpoint for us. And that's, you look at our class and what we have on campus this year, and that's a testament to John, of what he was able to do with, his connections with people. If anybody wants a kind of inside look at what John thinks of recruiting and how he does it, I would encourage you to go on Prep Baseball Report. He was just on a podcast with Shooter Hunt, and I think they spent about 40-50 minutes just talking about recruiting and the different things that John does. And it's no accident that our recruiting class this year is ranked the way it is, and the talent, And I think our fans will see that right away. It's a pretty exciting time in terms of what we feel like we have on campus, with our young players, and it's great because, John's now seeing his recruiting classes start to cycle through, and so that's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun in terms of seeing a lot of your hard work show up and being able to watch those guys on a daily basis. So I can't say enough about what he does for us, and we wouldn't be where we're at without his dedication and hard work to TCU. He's had great opportunities to go to other schools to do the exact same thing he's doing here, but he loves this place. He loves Fort Worth, and I'm just super grateful that he's sticking around. And it won't be too long until someone comes knocking down his door to be a head coach. That's 100% happening in a very short time.
Pretty decent golf game too.
Yeah. It's a good game. It's good. It's solid. It's as he walks by, it's a solid golf game. It's solid. He's down in the dumps a little bit right now. Last time out wasn't as beneficial for him. But yeah, great competitor. Great competitor. Had a hole-in-one last year. I wasn't with him.
You had one pretty recently.
Yeah, but it wasn't really like official. It was unofficial. All right. Thanks, guys.